My elevator pitch for what a surveyor is, I call us reality translators.
When the industry grows to the point that it is now, one of the biggest challenges in the industry still people capturing poor data.
Right, data capture's been democratized, and so not all data is good data.
AI isn't going to replace your job, but people using it will.
Exactly. It feels like we have superpowers now.
All right. Welcome to the booth. Thanks for coming to do an interview with me.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
All right. We're going to start, for those that don't know you, let's start with an introduction of you and your company.
Okay. My name's William Paul. My background is I'm a licensed land surveyor. Been doing this for about 25 years. My company is Original Survey Solutions, startup, about 2 years old. We mostly go by OSS now. We do a lot more than surveying.
Oh, very cool. And where are you based out of?
So we're based out of San Francisco Bay Area. Then we have projects throughout the Western U.S.
Okay, so what brings a surveyor to Geo Week?
Oh, I mean, back when I first got started with all of this stuff, it was only surveyors at these types of conferences, right? So it's actually pretty incredible to see how much everything's grown. So, just here to meet some great people, see the newest tech, see what's out there, and, kind of take it from there.
Cool. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit from your perspective as a surveyor in a business, what kind of technologies have you adopted or you guys using normal, in your practice?
Sure. Well, I mean, we use all the typical survey stuff that everybody's used forever. Reality capture is a great buzzword now. That's what surveyors have been doing since the beginning, right?
Yeah, capturing reality.
Yeah, exactly. My elevator pitch for what a surveyor is I call us reality translators, right? We take the real world and convert it to the virtual world, and then vice versa when it comes time to build something.
Yep.
So tech-wise, I mean, we're using all the typical stuff, total stations and all of that. We have a drone program, UAVs, been doing laser scanning for a long time, scan to BIM, construction quality control. I mean, basically, our role is to capture a ton of data and then turn it into useful intelligence for our clients.
Yeah, that's it's a fun conversation talking about how diverse and who all is doing 3D mapping now.
Yeah.
When really it did kind of start from the survey aspect. Right. Surveyors historically are the ones who understand how to set a certain level of control and maintain accuracies and look at errors. And what's your hot take here on the surveyor's role versus kind of the wide adoption of people getting into 3D mapping that are not surveyors? I'm curious yours.
No, yeah, exactly. I think a lot of surveyors are kind of conservative about that. I talk to a lot of colleagues, and people are upset because back, not even 15 years ago, surveyors used survey equipment. Surveyors were required to really measure anything at scale. And now, there's devices out here. People are collecting LiDAR data with an iPhone. Yeah. And so it's really, the data capture's been democratized. And so what does that mean as a surveyor? I still think we add a lot of value. Don't stick us in the closet just yet. Not all data is good data. And I think surveyors are uniquely positioned because we're a little bit different than a lot of the people that are here at this conference. We don't actually do anything with the data.
Yeah.
Our deliverable is to help other people get the data. So I think the role of the surveyor now is, one, can we rely on this data? Yeah. And then two, how do we get it to our client in a way that they're best going to be able to use it?
Yeah. Yeah. I came from the survey background as well. And I was kind of always this advocate for, I don't think only surveyors need the tools. Right. However, I think everybody in the industry needs to understand the importance of when is a surveyor really needed.
Yeah, sure.
Because one of the challenges that I've seen in the industry for the entire time I've been in it is that the lack of knowledge about surveying, right? When the industry grows to the point that it is now, and someone could walk in and buy 20 different types of scanning devices, but they don't understand the original principles of survey and control and accuracies. One of the biggest challenges in the industry still is people capturing poor data because of workflows and control and coordinate systems and all that type of thing. Yeah. And so I see this need for, yes, people can use the tools without being a surveyor, but what is the application?
Mm-hmm.
What are you using it for? How critical is that?
Right.
And when should you pull in a surveyor
Right.
to, come set control for you or confirm that your data is accurate? I think that's one of the biggest topics. I mean, the last 15 years, that's been a conversation that I can't stop having,
right,
because it's so important.
No, you're totally right. I think a lot of what we're doing now as a survey forward firm is we're still involved in education, just like you said. And it's a unique challenge. All the data that needs to be captured, there aren't enough surveyors in the world to do it. So what's going to happen, right? And we have taken a different approach. I don't view my clients that self-perform work as my enemies.
Yeah.
They're not, quote unquote, taking my job. What we do is a lot of education. We actually help train our clients to not need us. But what I found by doing that is they need us more than ever.
Yeah.
So they might self-perform some of the data collection, but then, the QA, what do they do with it? What should they look out for? And also, a lot of what's required to get high quality data is hard work.
Yeah.
And so once they are educated about what the workflow is and why it takes us the extra time to do the quality work that we do, a lot of people don't want to do it.
Correct.
They're just like, okay, give me the answers. I don't want to go get them myself. I didn't realize all of those steps were involved. I just thought you set up the scanner and push the button and go.
I've seen so many companies that, thought that it was that easy.
Right.
They get told it's super simple.
Right.
They buy the equipment and then it ends up sitting in a closet because they're like, we didn't know we need to upgrade all our systems. We need to upgrade our hardware, our compute power. We need to train someone on how to translate. Like, there's a lot of steps.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's the bigger the job, the more complex the job, the higher the accuracy need.
Right.
The harder it is. And,
100%.
And I think that's where I've seen a lot of people struggle or stumble or run into problems, is that they bought and trialed in a very small scale, low critical environment.
Right.
And then you start trying bigger and bigger and bigger things. And that's where I'm like, you got to have a surveyor involved.
Right.
Because there's all these accumulated errors, or there's drift, and it doesn't matter what device you use. It doesn't matter. There's a certain need for surveyors when you start getting into complex, large projects, no matter the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And, our industry, I mean, we've done this before. Back 30 years ago or so, a survey crew was 3 people because that's what it took. And
I worked on one.
Okay.
When I started, it was a 3-man crew.
Yeah. I've been on 3-man crews too, back when I was first learning, how not to knock the instrument over or drool on it or whatever. And then it changed and it got to, okay, now 2 people can do that work. And now 1 person can do that work. And now there's GPS and we don't slope stake anymore. And there's automated grading and all of that is taking place. And so, it's just, as all this has progressed, the need for surveyors is still more than ever. So it's not just about operating the equipment. It's like I said, it's just about getting the data in the hands of the people that need it.
Yeah. And I think one of the other, and this is a challenging conversation in the survey world, is that there's a lack of new surveyors.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big problem in the industry, is that there's many that are retiring. The growth of new licensed surveyors versus those that are retiring out is drastically different. And that's a challenge, I think, across the whole US, right? Those numbers are a problem. And that naturally makes it so that other people have to get into this work.
Right.
Because and you said it earlier, there's not enough surveyors to do the amount of work that's out there.
Right.
So what I think is it's this prime opportunity for the survey community to say, okay, we don't have to own this whole ecosystem.
Exactly.
But we can turn ourselves into the quality control and the verification and the authority in how companies do the capture, or when do they need a certain level of accuracy, or the trust from an owner side of like, hey, we're not going to be the ones out there scanning every day maybe, but we'll be the ones to help you make sure that what you're getting delivered is accurate. It's kind of that law of,
I mean, yeah, that's actually kind of become our business model. I think that people have a tendency to operate from a position of fear.
Yes.
And we try to do the opposite. So, I mean, we were recently on a large airport project and our client had just bought 3 total stations and they're out there doing 2-point resections off points 50 feet apart and wondering why they're not getting results. And there's a tendency to go, ha, ha, ha. But on the other hand, what our team did is said, no, here's how you use this thing. Here's how you can match the results we do. Here's how you can get interim information in between the days we're out here. And that way we're not fighting each other and getting different coordinates. We want to help you do a great job.
Yeah.
And we still had a place out there. And it's like AI.
Yes.
AI to me, sure, there's certain things that are worrying about it. Don't get me wrong. It's not all sunshine and roses, but if we can get the easier stuff, the quote unquote boring stuff automated, then, that allows the trained professionals to do other work. For example, topo surveys and field to finish. Who wants to sit there and play connect the dots all day?
Yeah.
So now we have automated tools to do that. So we still have our survey technicians and surveyors. They just don't have to do that, easy stuff anymore. And so if our clients can do some of the lower leverage work or some of the processes that we're helping them manage, that's a good thing for them. It's a good thing for us. We can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
And our goal ultimately is, sure, I like paying my bills, but we want to help our clients realize their visions and build their buildings projects, get the work done and get good use out of it.
Yeah. And I think the idea of what the technology replacing certain steps does is it just makes all of us have to be more innovative, more creative, more curious of like, okay, well, if I don't have to draw every topo by hand now, what else could I do? Like what other problem could I solve?
Exactly.
What other technology could I bring in to add even more value to the client?
Right.
Because I think everybody has, like you said, everyone has this fear and they have this limited mindset of like, there's only so much work.
Yeah, well, that's not the case.
No, if we help clients do more work faster, better, cheaper, they still want to spend more money and do more projects and do. So what all this technology does and the AI side is it just makes us shift our focus on the different types of problems we could solve. Back to the AI piece, I truly believe that saying of like, AI isn't going to replace your job, but people using it will.
Exactly.
Like all of these things are just tools. They still need us to be creative, to figure out how to solve certain problems. And, we've seen it happen with other technologies in the past. Nobody's out there pulling a manual chain anymore. And yes, that technology has now been replaced, but we're out there doing other work.
Right. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the tech, I don't know, some of it I feels like we have superpowers now. It's like you still need me to go save the world. I could just do it more efficiently. It's just all about your mindset, right? Like you were just saying, it's I don't know. I've always viewed, with my staff and my clients, I want volunteers, not hostages.
Yeah.
I think our industry, one of the reasons why maybe people aren't getting into it is we're so protectionist. And I think we need to kind of do the opposite.
Yeah.
And instead show the behind the scenes, show how the sausage is made, get these kids that are coming up interested and, get kids into surveys is here. I think it's a great program. I also think we need to get parents into survey. We need to, improve what value add do surveyors have? I think we do a lot of very valuable work, but we just have a little bit of a marketing problem as far as what the profession's all about.
Yeah. And that's one of our hopes with doing content and sharing online. And, we take our podcasts and our conference videos and we chop them up and go put them on YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we could start telling the stories of the cool things the industry does and showing the technology, that could attract and bring in the interest to help grow the professions again.
Yeah, 100%.
Solve some of the labor shortages. And it's funny, I love this example, and I can't tell all the detail of who directed it, who invented it, whatever, but the story back in the day of the Top Gun program.
Okay, right.
They had a challenge recruiting these pilots, and the numbers were just so bad they couldn't get enough. And this from the entertainment industry, this director was like, well, what if we told this story and they put out the movie? What happened to Top Gun? The desire for pilots, the recruitment went out, out the gate. It was like 1,200%. It's the most desired position now.
Yeah, my dream job when I was a kid, right? That movie came out, and it's funny you say that. Yeah, exactly.
So our thought is like, well, how can we do that with content? For the profession, for the industry, for the built environment? Is like, if you make it cool, you make it exciting, that's how we attract people to come in, and get more people to desire this industry.
Yeah, totally. And, it's like I said, it's just, we got to get the word out there. I go to, junior high schools, even high schools, and I show them the stuff we do, and the kids get excited about it. They're very interested in, there's a real focus on the trades now. Yeah. And I think that's one really cool thing about surveying is it's kind of a bridge between the white collar and the blue collar world. You get kind of a taste of both. And I think that's really appealing to people that maybe don't want to go through this traditional, hey, I sit in front of a computer all day role. There's room for you to go do professional work, but not sit behind a desk. And I think that, I love seeing the short form content stuff. We got to go meet people where they are.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Last couple questions as we narrow here. When it comes to pain points and challenges, what are some that come to mind for you right now, with all these different technologies and the data and what's a pain point that you see right now in the work you're doing, the tech you're adopting?
Sure. Well, I think that this industry, like just looking around this exhibit hall, it can be really overwhelming. And sometimes it's really hard to find the signal from the noise. So I think, figuring out which direction you're going to go, there's so many interesting problems to solve and so many interesting ways to solve them. So kind of sorting through all that. And, I think the key to it is really just to don't be a solution looking for a problem. Yeah. Go try to find the pain points of your clients and solve those. And then, as far as internally goes, I think one of the things that I struggle with is our company is doing well because we hire very talented people. But what's going to really get us to the next level is building more operational procedures. Yeah. And that's something that we're really working on as we scale.
Cool. That's awesome. And last question then is, are there any technologies or new things that you have not yet adopted that you're like, hey, I think in the next couple years, this is going to be a thing, or, something you're looking forward to?
Interesting. I think that a couple of things come to mind on that. It seems like there's a lot of progress being made in better documentation of underground utilities. Oh, yeah. So seeing how that tech's going to, continue to grow, what we're going to get out of that. And then just the AI and automation piece. Yeah. Right now, everybody's trying to do it. I wouldn't say we're not embracing it, but there isn't the, AI make me a model button.
Yes.
Apologies to some of the vendors out here. I think that's being sold in some ways, but it's going to be interesting to see the progress and, where the value add is for the professionals that have been doing this manually for a long time, trying to, find that sweet spot between getting things done as efficiently as possible, but still getting reliable results. So, I think that's the tech that we're going to be watching.
Yeah, same. It's funny, the AI piece, it is something that everybody's all hyped about. It's the new buzzword. Right. There was some type of report I came across maybe a month ago where it was like, there was a survey done, and I think only 10% of people that were claiming they were fully using AI actually was using it in a way that it was improving their business. Wow. Like most people, it's kind of just for fun, it's a game, you're figuring it out. But I think there is true value to be gained there in the coming years, and looking at how companies will bring tools like that into software processes and platforms. And it's a wild time to be in the tech.
Yeah, no, it's a really exciting time, and it's all about your mindset, right? So there's going to be challenges, but keep your eyes open, and then also keep your feet on the ground. Yeah.
Well, we'll share some information about you guys in the description when we post this.
Appreciate it.
Where can people find you online?
So we are at originalsurvey.com, oss.net launching soon. So that's a little shorter.
There you go.
We're on all the usual social channels, trying to build up that presence. And, thanks for the time today, Matt. Enjoyed the conversation.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me.
All right.
We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.